Here? Anybody here? Anybody here? Hey guys. I don't know where my people are. I know that I was running a few minutes late. I didn't say anything to anybody because I got a few people that should be here, so let me reach out to them. Right now, actually. So, I mean, what's weird is the link says Monday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I don't understand when people say, is it PM or AM? I don't understand. I don't know where Rebecca is. I did send her the link. She told me she'd see me. Hey, how is everybody doing? Guys, how are you? Can you guys hear me at all? Oh, yeah, okay, Rebecca Mitchell. Like, okay, now I get why you ain't here. Let me send you the link again, Rebecca Mitchell. Let me send you the link again. So I'm sending this to Rebecca, guys. So she's the only one I want to grab this link. I'm going to put it in the chat right here, Rebecca. Rebecca, I put it right here. Thank you, Cherokee girl. That's a nice way to start my day. Thank you for that. Rebecca, do you see it? Where? Yeah, here it is, Rebecca. I'm going to put it up there. So you should be able to grab it from there, Rebecca, and the two other people that are supposed to join us this morning. Otherwise, Rebecca and I'll take it away. But I believe that somebody else is going to join us. They were just checking on us. Hey, guys. Good morning. Good morning. I've got coffee. What kind of coffee you guys drinking today? What kind of coffee? Anybody drinking any kind of coffee? I'm drinking, what is it? Raspberry chocolate raspberry, and with the creamer as well, guys. And being that I didn't get any sleep last night because you know that I worked and it was a rough night, those that are part of this community, it was a very, yeah. Anyway, so I figure if I want a second cup of coffee, Milk, Honey, and Mayhem, what are you drinking? What are you drinking? Because usually you got some good friggin' coffee. Starbucks and a cold brew splash of sweet cream. Cool, holier than thou. Ice sweet tea. Can't handle coffee in my stomach. I get it. No coffee, just home from work and I figured out dinner. Good for you, Mushkin Mama. Good for you. It's 11 p.m. here, so no coffee for me. Okay. Laka mocha. Okay. Very good. If I go through this coffee, I will be having chocolate pistachio, dark chocolate pistachio with pistachio creamer. Lavender and honey today, Toddie one skip. Yeah, that's because you're spoiled. I didn't catch your video yet. I'm looking forward. Guys, Milk, Honey, and Mayhem. You guys should check out that channel. She's been a long subscriber to this channel, and she started her own YouTube channel that covers Pulaski, Tennessee, where she's from. She's very good. I didn't like pistachio ice cream and stuff like that until I got older, but I always loved pistachio nuts. Does anybody remember when pistachio nuts used to be red? Remember how they used to get our fingers red? I tell people that today and they can't believe it. Rebecca, you all right? Rebecca Mitchell, let me try. Maybe you're having a hard time getting it from there. Let me try to send it to you again in the email, okay? I'm going to try to send it to you in the email again, Rebecca. Here we go. Oh, wait a minute. There she is. There she is.
Good morning.
Ladies and gentlemen, the late, great Rebecca Mitchell. How you doing?
Sorry about that.
No worries. Hey, Tina Louise, do I know who you are? Tina Louise, do I know who you are? Because I know somebody named Tina Louise, for real. How is everybody okay? So we're supposed to have a couple more people because I sent them links. They wanted to come on the channel. I don't know if something came up or what have you. And before I forget, if you could email me your address because Renelle is going to send you the stuff so you can start your channel.
Oh, goodness.
So
Yes, I will do that.
yeah,
Thank
she
you
reached
so
out to me.
much.
Yeah, so that's Renelle Smith. Yeah, she's amazing. Do you know her channel at all?
I
Renelle's
don't, but
World?
I have to get more involved and get to know people. I'm
Yeah,
learning that.
Renelle's a true crime, and she also will call people out. I call her the social conscience of social media because she is a very good person that is very fair, very caring. She's not trying to hurt anybody, and
Right.
she's just trying to tell the truth and stuff. And yeah, so she's wonderful. You should check out her channel. She's from South Africa, so she's got that prim accent, and sometimes when she throws the word fuck in there, it throws you off. It's like, no, she didn't say that. Not prim and
Yeah,
proper.
that's
So
funny.
yeah, she's a great person. A lot of people like her. Anyway, she's good people. So how you
Good.
doing? How are you? It was a rough week. I know it was a rough week for you last week.
Yeah, we had a lot of certain dates that had a lot of meaning, and plus I'm battling some health issues on top of it. Of course, when it rains, it pours over here. But we made it through it, and that's what we do.
Yeah. So do you want to tell people, the anniversary? I guess I'm putting you on the spot. The only reason why I'm bringing it up isn't because I really want to talk about Corey, but it's because I want to talk about people that have these anniversaries that come into play and they're
Right.
struggling with their sobriety, and then they deal with the anniversary of something tragic, and they
Right.
have to get through the day. They have to
Right.
get through the day without going to something to help them get through the day.
Right. Well, excuse me, I don't know what's wrong with me, but anyway, it started in
Well, there's a lot
March.
of people we could ask. Does anybody know? I'm playing with you. I'm playing with
In March, that was the anniversary of Gino's death.
you.
That's
Right,
when he
right,
overdosed in my home. So that was March 18th. So, and then his 32nd birthday was March 27th. And then
right,
Corey's 4-year anniversary was April 2nd.
right,
And I say, everybody obviously knew that Brianna had a little bit of I guess you would call it an addiction. Apparently, that's how it's labeled.
right,
So if she didn't go to drugs during these times, I have faith that she's okay.
right.
She wasn't, like I said, what I would call a full-blown addict. She was a weekend warrior, maybe. I don't know what you would call it with Bree, but Gino, on the
Right,
other hand, was a daily drug
right,
abuser.
right, 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 right.
Anyway, but if these horrible dates didn't make someone who is, in that situation use, I think we can
Well, you
say,
too. I mean, like, you don't have to be, you could have used a crutch that day too. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
yeah,
could have.
yeah,
So it's not just for people that are already in addiction, but for people
right,
that are having a hard time. Because unfortunately, with everything and addiction included, you got to start somewhere.
right.
Today is
I
somebody's
mean,
first day of being a drug addict.
yeah,
Today, I guarantee you, is a lot of people's first day in,
right.
being a drug addict. So,
Yeah. I have prescriptions for Xanax, for instance, that I get from my psychiatrist. I'm not embarrassed to tell people,
right.
but
That's
I'm the
what they're
type of,
there for, man. That's
right,
what they're there for.
exactly. And I can tell you, I have the bottle of Xanax, and just having it makes me feel calm. I don't even have to take a pill. I know that sounds crazy to some of you, but
No,
just knowing that I have
it's
it if I
there.
need it
Right. Right.
helps me a lot. And I could have used that several days, trust me. But I don't. I have it, and it's for emergency. If I really feel like I'm going off the rails or something, I will take it. But that's my personality. I don't need it. I don't need to take it. I just need to know that it's there if I need it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Because it gives you like a safety, even though you might not need it. It makes you feel safe that it's there.
It's
And
there.
like Jamie said, it's also a lot of people's first day of sobriety.
Right.
So, kudos to those people.
Yes. Yes. It's a long journey. You're always in recovery, from what I understand. You've never fully recovered. You're a recovering addict,
Yeah,
you
work
know,
in progress all the
right.
time. All the
And,
time. Yeah.
unfortunately, some people are going to make it out and some are not. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's a sad situation for
Yeah.
sure. And holidays and um days of anniversaries and horrible days
It's
that you don't
hard.
want to remember.
It's hard enough for those of us that don't have addiction issues, but someone with an addiction issue, I can tell you, for instance, I always say something as simple as McDonald's messing up your order can trigger an addict to use. I'm not kidding. I've witnessed it. And it sounds crazy, but it's true. It can be something that simple.
Well, an addict like that, in my opinion, an addict like that is just looking for an excuse to use.
Yeah, that they have to have a reason, I guess, to justify it. And it could be something as simple as that. And,
Right, right,
it's
right.
sad, but
It,
true.
it's always the same in so here's somebody, Christine Covey said that 12 years here, she's 12 years clean here,
Oh,
and every day is
congratulations.
still a struggle, but life is better than before.
Good. Yes. I'm glad she can see that.
So I don't,
She,
I, I'm sorry, I don't know what California sober is. I assume that they smoke weed. I assume that's what it is, Jamie. Is that what it is? 2 years sobriety on SD. Her sister's 2 years sobriety. Congratulations. It's a huge achievement. I hope you go out and celebrate by going and having a nice meal
yes.
or something. Yeah, so Jamie said yes, that's what California. It's hard because marijuana, like I smoke marijuana and here I am on this channel, talking about sobriety and you know, I got to be honest with you, I smoked marijuana even when it wasn't legal. So,
A lot of people
yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't want to come across as somebody that, I only started smoking when it was legal because that's not true.
Right.
Um, I just I feel the same way about marijuana per se. Well, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to say that I feel the same way about alcohol because I think alcohol, as we talked about, can change somebody's demeanor like that. And that is one of the few substances that you can't cold turkey quit.
You can die from
You can
alcohol
absolutely
withdrawal. You
die,
most certainly
and
can.
and Valium as well, and
Yeah.
Valium as well, and I believe methadone as well.
Yeah.
Um, so, but marijuana, I don't know how to justify it. I feel like part of me needs to justify it, but I have no excuse. I like to smoke pot, you
Yeah,
know?
no, hey, you're not alone. A lot of people do. If I didn't have such a coughing fit and almost vomit every time I try to inhale it, I would probably smoke right along with you, but I'm just not good at it. I've tried,
Well, you
trust
don't
me.
have to, don't try.
I've
It's
done
better
it
that
and
you don't try.
it doesn't work for me. I'm not good at the inhaling part. And then,
You
the
don't have to
edible
be good
stuff,
at it. Don't worry about it.
edible
They
stuff tastes weird to me. It doesn't taste so good, so I can't
they're
do the
getting better.
edibles. Are they
They're
getting better?
Yeah, they're getting a lot better, but here's the thing. All right, so all right, my mom's gonna kill me for this. All
Oh
right,
boy.
so here's
Mom,
here-
hold your ears,
no,
cover your
here's this.
ears.
No, it has to do with her. Here's full disclosure. So I was visiting my mom in Florida. Thank you, honey Fleur. Thank you so much. I was visiting my mom in Florida. This is probably 5 years ago, maybe. And my mom always knew that I smoked. And she was like, just smoke on the patio. I'd rather you not go take a walk. And I was robbed in Florida at gunpoint, so I didn't want to
Oh,
go taking a
geez.
walk and stuff. So
Right.
she was like, just smoke on the patio. Don't worry about it. I said, well, what if people, smell it? It wasn't legal in Florida, and I certainly didn't have a medical license. So, and then I had edibles. So I went and I took an edible one day. So my mom knew that I smoked, and, it wasn't an issue with her. She didn't want me to drive and smoke, and that's fine. So, um, she said, so I had edibles, and one day I had a piece of chocolate, and she said to me, "What's that?" And I was like, "It's a piece of chocolate." And she said, "Can I have a piece?" And I said, "No."
Ah,
And she said, "Why?" And I said, "Well, because it's an edible. It's got marijuana in it." And she wanted to try it, and
oh
wanted
my
to try
gosh.
it, and wanted to try it, and to the point that I love you, mom, but it was annoying me. It was just like she was determined to try it.
Oh boy.
So I gave her half of chocolate, a piece of chocolate. And I forgot completely about it. And we're sitting there now. Her brother's there. There's some sort of family function or something because her brother's there. And I have, some other people there. And my mom comes up to me and she says, my grandmother, she says, my grandmother was just talking to me. Now, mind you, her mother's dead. So, her grandmother's not around.
Oh no.
I
Yeah.
looked at her and I'm wondering what, and then I realized, oh, fuck, and I'm like, well, she's not
Wow.
talking to you. Let me talk you out of this.
Oh
And I
boy.
was just like, please don't tell your brother I gave you an edible. Whatever you do, man, don't tell anybody in the family I gave you an edible
Oh
because
my
that's the end
goodness.
of it. But she did. She got yeah, I think that was the last time she tried.
Wow. Yeah,
So
I
you
had
want to
a
be careful with edibles. Just in
trust
other
me,
words, you want to be careful.
I had an experience after Gino passed. I had a bacon flavored edible,
I would
and
like to try that.
I like bacon, so that's what made me want to
Right.
try it. And I only took the tiniest piece, and I believe my children sent me to bed early that night. It was, you know,
Right,
I
right,
don't know.
right.
It affects everybody differently, I
It
guess.
does. And
And
there's
it,
different
yeah,
strains of it too. So there's
yeah.
stuff that will make you tired, and then there's stuff that will make you awake, and there's all different strains. So
Yeah, this what I took, it kind of made me like paranoid, I guess. I was hearing things that weren't there, and I was just giggly, and I can't lose control like that. So I was sent to bed and told never to do that again. So I
there you
didn't.
go. There
I
you
didn't
go.
do it again.
Yeah, you
But
have to and you have to definitely enjoy it.
yeah.
And it's not for everybody.
No, I have my ex sister-in-law. She's got to be 70 something years old. I might be aging her. She might be in her early 70s, but she's always smoked. I mean, I've known her I guess 30 something years, and she's always smoked marijuana before it was legal. She lives in Florida, and I remember her coming up to our house. We lived in Monroe, and we lived across the street from retired law enforcement.
Right,
And
right.
Joanne knew she couldn't smoke it in my house around my kids. So what'd she do? She goes and sits on my front steps, not the backyard, the front yard across the street from law enforcement,
Right,
and lights her joint and sitting out there smoking. And I told Vito, I said, you got to go get her. We're going to all be arrested. I don't know
right,
because I don't deal with this stuff. And she was like, what? I'm just smoking. I'm like, you can't do that. He's a cop over there. You could go in the backyard or something.
right, right,
But
right.
Joanne just lit up wherever she was. She didn't care, that's what she does. And I believe she still smokes to this day. I don't know. After, when I got divorced, everybody divorced me, the whole family. So
Yeah,
I don't know, but she never thought it was an issue. That's what she did. And it
right,
relaxed her.
right.
So,
Well, and that's what I do. I need to turn the fan on, so give me 1 second. Sorry about that. We got some rainy weather here. How is it by you?
same, it's rainy, damp, a little
Cold?
chilly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like cold through your bones outside.
Yeah. I hate
Yeah,
that kind of weather. It doesn't
me
do good
too.
for my back. So makes it
Yeah,
worse. But, I just want to say listen, marijuana is great for everybody, but I just want to stress the fact about know where you're getting it.
exactly,
Because as
exactly.
we spoke last week, it can be laced with things if you're not getting it from the right place. And that's just my only thing. I'm not one of those people, oh gosh, no, don't do that. It's so bad for you, because I know it has benefits to a lot of people. But
Right.
I just hope that everybody knows where they're getting their stuff. That's all.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Here's somebody that says, I've taken Valium for 35 years and I'm scared to stop it. Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, do it under medical supervision only. That's
Yeah.
my recommendation. Taper down with the doctor's
Yeah.
orders.
You definitely
Yeah.
have to be with doctor's care on that one.
Yeah,
Absolutely
definitely.
have
You
to
don't
do that.
just stop something like that.
Yeah. Is there something in the background? I don't know where the other two people are that we're gonna talk. So just so you guys know, in the chat, anybody that wants to share their sobriety story, recovery story, or their struggling story. If somebody's struggling and needs help and wants to talk, I mean, Rebecca for sure has made herself available.
Yeah,
She has more
definitely.
time. She has more time than I do. Probably cares a little bit more than me as well.
Don't say that. Are you
I was
kidding?
playing. I was playing. I was
I was gonna say, you care a
playing.
lot about a lot of things. I know that.
I was playing.
But no,
Um,
I do have time. I have a lot of time on my hands. And like I said, I will, even if I just get on the phone with somebody and help them look up help in their area, I mean, I'll do it,
yeah,
you know?
there's always places that you can call. There's always the hotlines
Yep,
that you can call. And you know, a lot of people have and you probably have heard this too. I think we might have touched on it last week about meetings and going to meetings. And there are people that their whole sobriety is built on the meetings.
right.
And unfortunately, then there are people that go to the meetings and unfortunately get high in the meetings.
Yeah.
So I think that, and people have asked me about that. And the only thing I could say is that if you want to be sober, that's half the battle. Because the truth is, you're going to find drugs everywhere. I
Right.
mean, they're going to be everywhere. You can try to change the situation and the surroundings and stuff, and you might be really good at that. I had to leave Florida. I left Florida and to start again, but I wanted to because where I went there were drugs.
Yeah, the drugs are everywhere. It's the
So
person. You have to want to
yeah, you
change.
have to
It's
definitely
yeah.
want to change. And
Yeah.
there is no there's no easy way, except the one thing that I will say is that the scenery always changes, and people need to know that. People that are going through very rough times and they don't know when they're going to catch a break, you'll catch a break. It will happen. It's going to take it just takes a lot of time. And and you have to believe. It's
And
faith
you have
too.
to
You
put the
got to have
work
faith.
in. You got to put the work in yourself. I can't do it for you. You can't do it for somebody else. They have to do it
Right.
for themselves. We can want it all we want, but they have to want it.
So here somebody says, hang on. I took Lortab or Vicodin for 10 years straight. I was very lucky. I never got addicted. I thank God for that. I've seen some people suffer. I was taking daily, so I tried to help. Well, if you were taking daily, how many were you taking a day? Your body must have become accustomed to it,
Yeah.
and I mean, even if you stop doing, like, if I take a pain, if I've had a migraine or I've had my ear that bothers me for more than 3 days and I've taken my pain pills for 3 days in a row, the fourth day, you know, I know that I'm going through something, and ibuprofen usually is a big help for that. I don't know if it helps everybody, but these are conversations that people need to have with their doctors now,
Right.
and when they're giving pain medicine, to say, okay, so now what happens when the day that I'm off it, like what happens with my body, because if I'm taking something 4 times a day, and they're usually like, so medical stuff, dental stuff, let's say, you usually prescribe something, right? Once every 4 to 6 hours for pain, and 3 to 5 days. Well, if you need that for 3 to 5 days, and you've taken 4 to 5 a day, by the fifth day, when you're running out of pain medicine, what are you supposed to do when nobody said to you, hey, man, you might get sick? You're probably going to
Right.
be going through something. There's no conversation, so there's a bunch of ignorance, and then they talk to the wrong person,
Yeah.
and they find out they're going through withdrawals, and it's a horrible feeling. It's just there is no real supervision, as far as talking to
I
people.
I can tell you, like I told you, I'm going through a lot of medical issues right now. One being I had a failed spinal fusion, which I have to have another surgery. So I'm in agony, my back, my hip, my leg,
Right.
um, I literally to the point where physically I can sometimes barely walk. I can't do a lot of things. And I have gone to pain management. I think they've really cut back on issuing prescriptions for pain medication because I've not had one doctor offer me a pain pill. They want to do everything else but pain medication. And I know that's for my own good.
Right,
And
right,
I
right,
I wouldn't take it anyway because I get very sick from like a Percocet or something. It
right,
upsets my stomach so bad. So I'm not going to be that person that would get hooked. But on these nights, like I was up all night last night,
right,
I can't sleep. I would take it then. And it
right,
wouldn't be every night, but unfortunately, because of everything that happened with the opioid, crisis, doctors are hesitant to prescribe to anybody, even me, a 54-year-old woman who's never had an issue.
right.
So
It is.
it's,
Yeah. Now it's they don't give it when it's needed, and that's what they're
right,
for. I
right.
mean,
But
there's pain pills for a
unfortunately,
reason, legitimate reason.
unfortunately, they won't prescribe because of the situation. They're afraid to prescribe, I guess, in a sense. So I suffer.
It's not good. That's terrible.
No, it's a horrible thing. It really takes its toll on you, because when you can't sleep because you're in pain, or if you're in pain, it affects your mental status,
It
how you
definitely
think and
does.
function. And I
And a
used to
lack
be
of sleep definitely does, right?
right. I used to be very, I'm not going to say I was very, very intelligent, but I could think and know the answer to things. And sometimes I have to sit and even spelling a word if I'm writing. I have to think about it because I'm just not with it anymore. The pain has really taken its toll on me.
Right.
And it's unfortunate that I can't get one pill just to have occasionally if I need it. I can't
Yeah,
get it.
that's ridiculous. And when you
Yeah.
ask them, they say no.
They tell me, no, we don't do things like that. This is, pain management. We manage your pain by other means. But I know people that go to pain management and get a 90-day supply of, oxycodone or whatever.
Well, I go
But
to pain management, and I mean, I don't get oxycodone, but I get my pain medicine.
yeah, I don't, they
And I
won't
have
do
to
it.
piss in a cup
Yeah.
sometimes, and
Yep.
to prove that I'm not selling anything, or
I have to do a drug test just for my Ambien and my Xanax and my
well, I
Prozac.
understand that, because people
Yeah.
will sell that.
Yep.
People will sell that shit,
Yeah.
you know.
So I just had to go on Thursday and do my drug screen so I could get my prescriptions refilled.
Maybe they're not doing that because you're on those as well, but the combination of those would not be good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they do that, but I do it, even though I think it's crazy that I have to because I'm not really on anything unless they're checking for the Xanax to see. I don't know what they're checking for with me.
They just want to make sure that there's Xanax in your system.
I guess, but they know there really isn't because I don't use it. I just hold the bottle and I tell them that. So I don't get a new prescription. Every time they prescribe, they
Oh,
ask, do
okay.
you need, and I say, no, I still don't need it. The last time I took one was August 2nd.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not dependent on it, but I guess they do need to check and see what my levels are maybe or something. I don't know.
Wow.
But I'm okay with that if that's what I have to do.
Wow. I'm reading some of the chat. That's what I'm doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't really see it all unless you highlight it and put it up here. I don't see
Yeah.
the whole chat. So,
So some Sweetie Brookshire said, I will get a hold of you if that's okay, Rebecca.
oh, most definitely. I think we've spoken in Facebook Messenger or something, but yeah, definitely reach out. I'm here.
Thank you, Cherokee Girl, for these gifted memberships. I really appreciate it. There was something that I was gonna say. I'm sorry. Uh there was something that I thought that I saw in here, but I okay, so here's somebody saying it's illegal to prescribe the two, like your Valium and your or your Ambien and the pain medicine. Yeah, that would be a deadly
Oh,
combination. I would think it would be a deadly combination, but they should tell you you
yeah.
shouldn't have to guess. So, how do you get in touch with Rebecca? That's a question here.
You can either find me on Facebook or you can email me. It's Rebecca Michelot3 at Gmail. I don't know, Toddie, I don't know if you're able to put my email out because I don't know how to do that while we're here on live, but I have no
I'm gonna
problem
tell
giving
you.
out my email.
The number 3
Yes,
at Gmail.
yes.
I think I'm allowed to do it, but I might be the only one allowed to do it. So let's see. Is that it?
Rebecca Michelot3. Yes, that's it.
Okay, so that's Rebecca's email, guys. That's Rebecca's email.
And I check my email all day long, so I'll get the message.
True that. I wonder where the people are that were gonna come and talk to
I
us.
don't know. Are
They
they?
might have just got a little shy.
Yeah, some people do. I got a message from someone that told me her situation after we had this last week,
I
and
love
she
that.
reached out. And some people just don't feel comfortable putting it out in public.
Right, right,
I've never been ashamed of Gino's addiction or Brianna's issues. I've always been because in my theory, I might help somebody by telling my story.
right, 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 right,
Even
right,
if it's
right.
just a phone call to somebody that's like on that ledge about to jump, just being able to talk to somebody about it might get them down off that ledge, and that's why I'm very open about everything in my whole life. I'm
Right.
open and I share probably too much sometimes.
I think that I see when people share, I think that they realize that not only are they sharing about their life, but if everybody's part of a family, so now you're putting your mom's business out there by
Yeah.
talking about one of her kids, and
Right.
it's true, we are all struggling with something, and so it's good to share. I agree with that 100%, Jamie.
Yes, most definitely. But like I said, some people have that fear of putting themselves out there, maybe if they have a job and people at work don't know about, you just
Right,
don't know.
right.
You don't
You
know. People
can't,
judge.
it's good now because you really can't like there's so much compassion now, or at least understanding, let's just say, or at least you're protected,
Right.
because if I were to go to work and say, I've got an addiction problem, back in the day, I mean, they could have fired me and the whole nine
Right.
yards and everything. Now they can't because it's treated as a disease.
Yeah, I know a lot
And
of people have said that their employers help them get into rehab and
yep,
stuff. They help you, and
yep,
that's
yep,
great.
yep. Right.
That's a wonderful thing.
So I guess somebody's asking if you've tried CBD, which is a different. It's not. It doesn't get you high. It's from the plant, but it's the part that doesn't get you high.
Yeah, I've tried like an ointment, a CBD ointment, to put on my back and stuff. And I think my issue is just so severe that the only thing that's going to help me is hopefully surgery. Oh, we got somebody.
We do have somebody.
Hi, I am Okie Finoki Stone,
It's
but you
nice to
can
meet
call me
you.
Amy.
Hi.
Hi, I'm so sorry I'm late. I had my West Coast and East Coast time difference mixed up.
No
I
problem.
apologize.
I get that confused too. No problem.
Okay.
That's not a problem.
Nice
So
to meet you both.
it's
You,
nice to
you
meet
as
you too.
well. We're glad
Amy,
you're
right?
here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Not a problem. So you said you wanted to share your story a little bit,
Yes, if I could. Where would you like me to start?
wherever you're comfortable.
Okay. I was one of the first patients prescribed OxyContin, like in 1996, or in the first wave of patients. I was working as a nail tech, and I had lupus, and I had a hard time, like with arthritis. I still have obviously lupus, um, and sorry, I'm nervous a little bit. Um,
Take your time.
within they told us it was less harmful and not very addictive at all. It was supposed to be less addictive than the Lortabs I was taking occasionally. Like if my back was giving me real bad problems that day, I would take a Lortab in the morning. And that was really the extent of my painkiller use until I was put on OxyContin. Within like 6 months, I realized I was sick if I didn't take the medicine. And my husband developed a problem. He started stealing my medicine, and I never took it
Right.
other than I was prescribed, but I was dependent. But he got really bad, and it ended up ruining our marriage. And he's still, I don't know how he's alive. He would be, see, he's 59 now, and he's been using opiates constantly. I'm still in touch with his son. We're still friends. Since 1996, and I don't know how he's alive. But I got out in 2004. I left my marriage and I got clean, and I went cold turkey off of methadone,
Wow.
which my
Wow.
painkillers, they were prescribing methadone for pain use at that point, and it was easier than taking the OxyContin because it was just once a day. But nobody told me that I was going to be sick for 3 solid months. But
Wow.
I got through it. I didn't use for 3 months, even though there was a methadone clinic like right down the street from me, and I got through it, and I stayed clean until 2010. And I was having a lot of problems with pain, and I had like access to painkillers, and I had just been staying away from them. But I had a lot of problems going on in my life at that time, and it really does kind of numb everything. Even if you don't excessively use, it numbs things. So I used for about only a couple of months, and I was like, I'm not getting back into this. So I put myself into treatment, and that was the first time I was put on suboxone, and it was a miracle. It really was. It doesn't get you high. Like even methadone will get you high, but you have to take a ton of suboxone. It's just not worth it. And plus, I like to smoke weed. Like if I had never been prescribed the OxyContin way back in the day, I never would have messed with any of this. I would smoke weed. I don't even like to drink, and I'd be happy with that. But
Right.
and then I weaned off of the OxyContin slowly. It took like a couple of years, and it was easy though because they did it really slowly. You can't come off it quickly, just like methadone. You can't come off it quickly, and but it was easy. And then in 2020, we all remember 2020, right?
Pandemic.
And that year also, my mother died. Um, I had a really bad lupus flare, and it was just 2020. Oh, and also I tripped over the dog and I broke 2 ribs.
Oh, goodness.
So I started taking kratom, which is over the counter for
Right.
pain. And I don't realize how quickly your body remembers all these things, but it really does. Like if you've ever been on any of it, your body remembers. So like it was maybe a month and I was sick if I didn't take the kratom. And that was, it's just every 4 hours you have to wake up or you're sick. It's not any fun. Even if you're not getting high, it's just not fun.
Mhm.
So
A lot of
I
people,
started
I'm
making,
sorry, a lot of people use that kratom or kratom to get off of, to wean themselves off of
yeah,
messing with it.
I wasn't able to wean down off of it. Like, and also it made me physically ill. And someone told me about making poppy seed tea, which was kind of a mistake. I, I did that. I'm not even going to tell you how to do it because that would probably get
Mhm.
everybody in a lot of trouble with
Yeah, we don't want to put that on the
standards or
channel
any of
anyway.
that.
Mhm.
But I started doing that, and I drank poppy seed tea for a couple of years, and it's just not sustainable. Like I'm really thin now because it messes up like your stomach, and it just, I was nauseated a good bit of the time, and it was the same way with kratom. So I called a service I found online. I remembered the suboxone, and I was like, that really helped me once before, and I called them. And within a week, they had an appointment kind of like this, where I spoke with a doctor and I told them, basically what I've just told you. And they're like, well, it does treat pain. And I'm like, yeah, I remember that. So I'm kind of on it for pain therapy, and also because I don't have like the regular story that most people do. Like I kind of got fell into a physical addiction without even really enjoying the high. You know what I mean?
Right, right,
Yeah.
right.
But I'm on it now, and it handles my physical pain in a way that lupus is really tough in a lot
Yeah,
of
I've heard
ways. I
that.
have arthritis. I'm about an inch and a half shorter than I was when I was 20 years old because my
Wow.
spine is slowly collapsing from degenerative disc disease
Right.
that has come along with it. But it helps a lot of things, and also I'm just not sick. And right now I'm kind of going back and forth on whether I should take it for the rest of my life just for pain control.
Yeah.
But
I know somebody that wants to get on that because of they were given a bunch of pain pills and they're going to be in chronic pain. I mean, that's just, it's chronic pain. So
it
they're
doesn't make me.
looking,
I would
they're looking
recommend
to
it. I
get it.
really would. It doesn't
Now,
make
is
me
that the
nauseated
strip
in the
or is
same
that
way
the
that
pill? Is that the strip?
it's a strip. They offered
Right,
me a pill that's all sublingual now, and it just goes under your tongue, and you just
right,
sit. But
right.
even the tablet is just sublingual. But I get a strip, and it's there for 5 minutes, and then it's melted, and I have my coffee, and I watch Toddie One Skip.
Thank you
Oh,
for
how
that.
about that?
And you don't get high from that at all, because I heard some people get high from Suboxone that they
I don't. And like the first couple of days, I had like a euphoria, and but I think it was just I felt better, and I was able to do my housework that I haven't been able to
Mhm.
do. You
okay,
know,
there you go.
but
I
I
didn't
don't.
realize.
I'm
I'm
also on
sorry.
a really low. I'm also on a really low dose, and I don't mean to talk over
Right.
you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. I have these outbursts. I'm old. I blame it on age. I just shout out when something comes to my
I do
mind or
the
it
same
goes
thing. I
away.
am also. I'm going to be 49 this month, so I hear
Oh
you.
boy, you're a
Happy
baby.
birthday. Happy birthday.
But I was gonna say,
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize they use that to treat pain. I see, I'm not in the loop of things. I guess I need to get out more, and I don't know these things,
I
but
don't
I
know
didn't
where to
realize
go.
that.
There's not a mall to go to for this.
Yeah, no, I guess. And if my doctors aren't telling me this or offering me this, I wouldn't know. I don't know that I would do it. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
It really does. Like painkillers make me nauseated. These
Me
don't. This
too.
doesn't make me nauseated. I don't know if it. Obviously it's not for everybody, but it has been
Right.
a really good thing for me. And I wish if I was able to get in touch with my ex-husband, I would tell him to please save his own life.
But you know what? He has to want to save his life. He may be
Yeah,
just
and
content with
it
what
took.
he's doing, you know?
Yeah, 9 years into my marriage, I realized that.
Yeah, you
And
can't
it
fix
was,
him, you know,
yeah,
he has to want to fix himself. It's not up to you, you
exactly.
know, and unfortunately we can want it, but they have to want it, you know.
Yeah, that's it. And it's really such a sad story with him. Is
Yeah.
he was such a good guy. When I met him, he was he had a car stereo store, and it was an electrician. Well, not an electrician. He kind of worked as an electrician. He was an air conditioner guy, and he was kind of, they had him in maintenance. But he had such a bright future ahead of him, and we we were doing really well with the store. And about 3 or 4 years into our marriage, it was just, he was high all the time, and we lost everything. I lost the house I inherited from my grandmother.
Oh
And
my.
but yeah, it took me 9 years to realize that he was not going to change because I was trying to get him to. He was not going to. He
Right.
had to make the decision, and apparently he still hasn't. I don't know how he stayed. His
Right.
tolerance must be,
Yeah.
and
And he's
with
also
fentanyl
very
and everything.
fortunate that he's not picking up other stuff like we were
Right.
talking about. The streets they're
That's the
dangerous. You
thing.
don't know what you're buying. End of story. You do not know what you're
What
buying.
you're getting. I would not
No,
do anything off the street.
no.
I like living in Oregon because now they're saying, like, the dispensaries are pretty safe. They're safe. You get your weed, and it's
Right,
clean. It's
right.
got, your THC levels and everything. But they're saying, like, on the East Coast, they're finding weed off the streets that has it in it. And why would you do that?
No.
I don't even
They're
know.
putting fentanyl in everything.
Yeah.
It's
I
Everything.
only
very
get my stuff
scary.
Yeah.
from dispensaries. I only get because
Yeah.
it's legal in New York. I only get my stuff from dispensaries.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Because
Yeah.
think that's
It's
the
again,
safest thing to do.
yeah, my best friend might, I trust him, but I don't know that I trust everybody,
right,
you
right.
know,
If you grow it or know
Right.
someone really well
right.
who grows it. I can have up to 4 plants here in Oregon, but I'm not really good with plants. I tend to kill them. I have two that I've kept alive for
I'm so
about a year
lazy.
and a
I
half.
want my shit already rolled and everything. Are you kidding me? I
Yeah.
buy pre-rolls now.
Yeah,
I'm
I'd
spoiled.
have to be that person where it's rolled, somebody lights it for me and smokes it for me. I can't handle it. So
I have a
that would
water
be
bong.
me.
Yeah, I don't even take it. I just grind it up and put it in the little pipe and
There
smoke
you
a hit
go.
and walk away. I have a little table, and my landlord's great. She doesn't care. So,
Well, that's
A lot of
good.
people don't mind you smoking inside of the house. They'd rather you smoke that than cigarettes because
yeah, that's what she said, because I
cigarettes
do smoke cigarettes,
cigarettes
and I
get
could. Uh,
the film and that awful, awful smell where weed
yeah,
is
it's
not.
not. She's like, I wouldn't mind if you smoke weed in the house, but when you're smoking, don't smoke cigarettes inside.
Right,
So
right,
that's
Yeah.
right.
funny that it's cigarettes are much worse. Speaking of which, can I smoke on YouTube like a cigarette if I walk outside? Or is
Yeah,
that
yeah. I
against
mean,
community
like,
standards?
I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes, so I don't
I
care.
was in a hurry this morning. I had my times messed up, and I have not had my cigarette. Would you guys mind?
I
No,
don't mind
not
at
at all. You
all.
could actually,
Okay.
you know what you could do?
Set
There's
it
a
down.
No, no, no. Wait a minute. There's a picture where, okay, so underneath, you know how there's three of us? You see, there's me, Rebecca, and you, right?
Yes, I see it.
Okay. So then you see that there's a little picture of your face. I mean, a little picture of like a silhouette of somebody.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you just click on stop camera
Okay.
and then your face won't show up.
All right. All right. Let's see
And
if I
then
can
when
get
you
this
want to
without
come back,
messing it up.
just hit it again and you'll come back.
Okay.
All
Let's see
right.
if I can. All right.
So there's a woman named Mary Sullivan that says, I've been prescribing Suboxone for almost 20 years and can speak very intelligently about it. Oh, she got offline by accident. She'll come back.
Oh, she'll come back.
Yeah, she'll come back. So, Mary, are you still in the chat? Would you want to speak about it?
So is Mary a doctor? Is that what
I
I'm
don't know.
understanding?
It says I've been prescribing, but sometimes, this, it could be that she's been prescribed.
Oh, maybe
She could
that's
be
what she
using
meant to
talk to
say.
text. So, I don't know. That's why.
Although
But
it looks like it says she's treated thousands of patients, so
yeah,
she must be
so
a doctor of some
yeah,
sort.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or we
maybe.
hope she is.
Well, yeah.
We hope she is.
Is
Anyway,
she still
Mary,
here?
I don't know. I'm asking
Oh,
Mary
okay.
Sullivan, are you still around? Mary, there she is. Wait. Sadly, there are people who purchase pill presses and sell fake oxy. Yeah,
Yes.
that's the thing. Mary, would you be interested if I throw we have Amy's back. Would you, Mary, let me just put, if you want to come on, Mary,
I think I am.
You're back. We
yeah,
see
you're
you.
back. But
Okay.
this is for Mary. If Mary wants to come
I
on
have
and talk,
not done this
Mary,
before.
don't feel obligated if you want to come next week if you're not prepared. Yeah, here she is right here. I'm a doctor for over 25 years. So that's
Oh,
how
okay.
you click on, and you can come up here and talk to us, Mary, if you'd like. We'd love to
Oh, that'd be great.
find out questions
That'd be
and
great.
stuff.
That was a quick cigarette. My goodness.
I only smoke a part of one. This is how I cut down. I only smoke a part of one and then I put it
Okay.
out, and then an hour later I smoke another
You
part
light
of
it
one.
again,
Right?
There
yeah.
you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
And I roll my own too. I pack my own. I have a little machine,
Oh,
so
wow.
it costs me like $20 a month to smoke. It's really because it's the
Yeah,
taxes that
because
get
it's
you.
crazy expensive now, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
crazy
It
expensive.
is. It is. They're
Definitely.
like $10 a pack, and I can't afford that. Plus, there's no
No.
additives in the tobacco, and like all my lung issues, they went away when I went to like natural pipe tobacco.
Oh,
It's
wow.
crazy, all the stuff they put in it.
Okay, so Mary said next week is better. She's just waking up. Mary, if you
Okay,
could
good.
if you could reach out to me at Toddie1skip@gmail, I'm happy to send you the link for next week so that you could come on when we come on, if that's something that you'd like to do. We'd love to ask you questions. I'm sure people in the chat would love to ask you questions as well, you know.
Yes, definitely.
So yeah, you got a lot
The
of people
doctor would.
already saying, yeah, just to understand, because I think, look at this. Look at how much cigarettes are there.
Wow.
$79 for a pack of 50 cigarettes.
Wow. 50.
Wow.
They usually come in a pack of 20. It's great.
20,
It
right?
really, yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep. But still, that's a
It's
lot of
insane,
money,
but
man. That is a
I
lot
can
of
buy a
money.
pack of empty tubes and a bag of tobacco and smoke for about $20 a month.
Wow.
So
Yeah, I
it's
would love to talk to you about this, Mary, to be honest. I would love to talk. She's saying that doctors overprescribe. I have a friend that's going through that right now.
they
Yeah.
used to so much. That's how I fell into it. Like really, I would have been fine staying on the Lortabs and just taking one like when my arthritis was bad. But they put me on the OxyContin, and that's how I got into it.
And you're
Yeah.
so ignorant to it because you want to trust doctors. You
Yes, and it
want to
was
trust
Yeah.
new, and
them.
they said it's not as
Just
harmful
like
and
the
less
TV
addictive.
show. Yep, just like the TV show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want to share a quick story about Suboxone if you don't mind me jumping in for a minute.
No, go ahead. I'm just gonna shut because I'm gonna smoke. So I'm just gonna shut my camera off, but I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here.
All right.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
my son Gino, I don't know if everyone knows, but I lost my son 2 years ago. March 18th, he overdosed and
I'm so
died in my
sorry.
house. But he struggled with addiction with heroin. It started with prescription pills for an injury. He got skateboarding, required surgery, and then after they gave him these prescription pills, and he just never seemed to go off of them, and then started buying them off the street, and then the pills got too expensive, and then he went to heroin.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, at one point during his addiction, I learned of Suboxone, and I thought, okay, well, let's do this. This is going to fix it. And it was so strange because I called this medical doctor. He was a regular doctor, and then he also prescribed, Suboxone. He
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't use our insurance for the appointment, and I thought that was very odd. I had to pay cash for the appointment. And
Mm-hmm.
cash, it was just the oddest thing. Like, why couldn't I use the insurance? So just pay my
Mm-hmm.
copay and go to the doctor. And I still never got a straight answer as to why I had to pay a $300, fee for this appointment. Why wasn't it under? And it just made me feel like, I don't know, I just didn't have a good feeling about it. And I
Yeah.
never did get the answer as to why I had to go outside of insurance, even though this was a medical doctor who took my insurance.
Mm-hmm.
He made us pay cash for the appointment. It had to be cash. Couldn't put it
That
on my
is
debit card, a check, nothing. Had to be cash. And I thought that was the oddest thing. I never understood that. But that was my
that sounds
experience.
like some of the doctors that my first husband and I used to visit that just
Right.
took cash and would give you whatever prescription you wanted.
Yeah, that's what I felt
But
like. And there was no
that
support
is that
behind
is
it, you
strange.
know?
I've never seen that from anyone legitimate. That was red flags for sure. But I don't. That is. I'm sorry that. Uh-oh. I am so sorry that she lost your son. That is my brother-in-law from my first marriage overdosed as well. But after we were. Did we lose her, Toddie? Like, did she go offline? I think you're muted. Or- I can't hear you, Toddie. Is it me or you?
No, it was me. It was me.
Oh,
I
there
went
he
to a
is.
doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to a doctor. I didn't go to a doctor. I know of a doctor in this area. I don't know if they're still in this area. It was so long ago that they did the same thing that Rebecca's saying. They didn't take
I'm sorry, Rebecca.
the insurance either. They had to pay for that, and it was
Yeah, it was
legitimate doctor. Yeah.
it was odd. And then I find out I didn't know that you could overdose on Suboxone.
They gave me with my when my first prescription this time. I didn't realize it the last time, but this time they gave me a thing of naloxone. They gave me
Mhm,
basically, along with the prescription, and I was
right.
like, I'm not going to take all of this at once. But I guess, of course, people are going to try and abuse it. It's just
Right.
not my
And
personality type,
that's
but
what
I have
happened
been
with my
around it.
son.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Gino, he got the Suboxone, and about a week into it, I picked him up from somewhere. He'd been to a friend's house, and I picked him up, and he just got in the car, and he looked bad,
Mm.
and his head was over. And I said, "What's wrong with you?" And he couldn't even talk. And I
Oh,
called
no.
this doctor that we had been prescribed this medication, and I said, "Listen, I think something's wrong with Gino." I said, "He's, whatever." And he said I don't want to I don't want to use the word. Anyway, he said in his foreign accent that, he is overdosing, and if you don't get him help, he will die. And I said, well, what the
Wow.
hell's he overdosing on? Like, I don't understand. And it was the Suboxone. I had to call 911. And, Gino went to the hospital, the whole whatever, and came back home that night. But, I called the doctor the next day, and I said, what the hell? You give me this medicine for this kid.
And they didn't
I
warn
don't
you.
know, with nothing, no education on it whatsoever. And here he overdosed on a medication that I thought was going to fix him.
Yeah,
I just, it was just a bad experience for us. I mean, he
I'm
was
so
going off of
sorry.
one drug onto another drug that he was getting legally, but could still overdose on, which
Right.
I just still don't
Well,
understand that.
they definitely need to educate.
They do, and they did with me this time. I have to admit, the first time when I was on it, they're just like, take one of these a day and it'll be fine. And
Right.
it didn't even occur to me to try to do more than that because it's just not my thing. But this time they started me out on a very low dose because with the poppy seeds, it was hard to decide like how much I was actually taking, like, so they started me out at 2 milligrams and I'm now taking 4. Most people take like he said my therapist and my doctor, he said, yeah, I have patients on 32 and that
Wow.
Wow.
so
Wow.
but I'm taking 4 milligrams a day. I took 8 the first time because I was taking like a higher dose of Oxycontin. The poppy seeds I was just taking like enough to not be sick. And that's funny, you start taking something so that you will feel better and then you're not. You end up taking it just to feel normal.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Right.
yeah,
That's
it
the
was
thing. A
just not
lot of Go ahead.
mm, it just wasn't sustainable and I realized it and I'm like I'm down to 110 pounds and I can't, so I've been on them for, see, 5 weeks now. I've been taking the strips and I've gained 7 pounds, which is
Good for
big
you.
for me.
Good. That's
Yeah,
great.
I'm little though. I'm like 5'2", so but it's still
Very
I'm
cool.
really, really so sorry, Rebecca. I lost my brother-in-law
Thank
from an
you.
overdose after my first husband and I divorced, and I was not able to go to the funeral and because of the marriage issues, and but
Right. Mhm.
it is just so
It's
sorry,
tough.
so sad how many people we have lost to the opiate epidemic in
I've
America.
lost so many friends. When
Yeah.
I go to the cemetery to visit my grandson and my mother and my brother, I look around and most of my friends are there too. And,
Mm,
they shouldn't be,
yeah.
but it's just the world we live in, you know.
A, a woman that I it was actually, and it's not just younger people, or it's all, all of the age groups.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I had a woman who I was one of my mother's friends, so she was in her 70s, and this was about a month ago. I got a message that she had overdosed,
Oh
and
my.
just
Wow.
accidentally, and the they do overprescribe, but then they also underprescribe in places. So people end up going to the streets because the people that were getting prescriptions before, they're not able to get them now, and they end up getting something with fentanyl in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because what they're going through is withdrawals, and you
Yes,
can't
and
just,
they're
you
awful.
gotta let,
They're
you gotta let people, you gotta at least get them sober. Get them, you can't let them try to figure it out for themselves,
mhm,
because that's what's going to be the problem, you know?
Yeah. I remember Gino would try to quit and, he would start going through withdrawal and it would get, I mean, the stuff that happens to your body going through withdrawal. And he would say to me, Mom, you got to get me some. I can't do this. And I'd say, no, you have, that you're 2 days in, just,
Yeah,
and he would be just in horrific
it's
shape.
awful.
It
It
was
really
terrible.
is.
I couldn't stand to see him like that to the point where I almost wanted to let him go get dope, but
Hmm.
and
right.
he would do this, I don't know how many times he would go through this and then he would use again after having some time. And
Having to
when he,
have gone all through all the work, I never understood that with my first husband, but that's why
yeah,
the mind of an addict is different.
right.
You know,
And with
they
Gino,
love it.
he was clean
Mhm.
2 years and then
Oh,
he used and died first
yeah.
time he used again. And it's just a daily struggle. Like I said, that someone can be clean for 5 years and one little thing can trigger them to
Mhm.
say, you know what, I'm just going to do it today, just a little bit, just to get through this. And
Mhm.
sometimes that little bit takes your life. And that's what happened to Gino.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time. There was a time, I spoke about this, I believe last week when we were talking, there was a time that I had already planned Gino's funeral years ago because I knew he was going to die. But then
Oh,
when he did, I wasn't expecting it because he had been good for so long. It
mhm.
just, it caught me off guard. Hadn't had those thoughts about him in so long. And
Mhm.
then you let your guard down and boom, that's, I take sleep medication. And when Gino moved back home, I hadn't taken it because I was always so worried about him.
Mhm.
What if
Got to
something
be
happened to him and I
watchful.
couldn't be alert? And that night that he passed, I was making his lunch for work. We were talking about what he wanted in his lunch. He was asking me to get things from the grocery store. We said goodnight. I love you. I go to bed and I said, I'm going to take an Ambien tonight. I just felt like the world was okay. And I took that pill. And wouldn't you know, that was the night that he overdosed in my house and died. And it's just when I least expected it is when it
Yeah.
happened.
Right.
It's,
I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine. I never had children, but I can't imagine the loss of a child.
yeah,
One of
it's
my
tough.
friends lost. Yeah.
You don't get over that, because
I
it's not
it's
supposed
got
to
to
be
be.
that way. They're supposed to bury us. We're not
Yeah.
supposed to bury them,
No, it's no one should have to go through that. No.
No, it's not an
I
easy task, that's for sure.
no. No. And being a mom is hard enough, but then
Well, I think that, it's good that we're getting a conversation started so
mhm.
that people realize that they can at least talk about it, that they're not alone. There's no shame. I mean,
There isn't.
you know,
There isn't any in it. And it took me a long time to realize that and be able to talk about it. I was embarrassed, because I, come from a nice family and I've never been arrested. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket that stuck, and I'm an addict. But it's
Listen, it
okay.
happens to everybody. Lawyers, doctors, everybody, their
Mhm.
kids. There are doctors and attorneys that have substance abuse issues. It happens to everybody. And we shouldn't be ashamed of it. I'm very open about it. There are so many people, when one of their loved ones may pass from an overdose, they'll say, "Oh no, he had a heart attack or she had a heart." Okay, if that helps you to say that, then okay.
Yeah,
You
there's
know,
still that
I
stigma and if people were more honest about it, then I think that
It would be
a
easier
lot of the
for other people to
conversation
admit
would be
that they
going
have.
on. You know what I
right.
mean? And with the conversation comes
Yeah.
help and awareness and
Yeah,
Yeah.
education and all that.
yeah,
I think everybody has a thing too. I mean, like everybody has something. For some people, it's food. And some people, some habits are obviously healthier than others. If you can develop
right.
an exercise habit to replace a bad habit.
Right, right,
But
right.
everybody has a thing. And it's just some people, it's, more
Yeah,
harmful than
everybody
others. But,
chooses a crutch. For me,
mm-hmm.
it's coffee. And I used to overeat when I was stressed.
Yeah.
I've gotten very good with that. I don't do that anymore, but I still drink my coffee. I keep my Stanley right here full of
Oh, yeah.
coffee.
Right.
I drink it all day long up until evening, and then I stop. But
I should
that's
get
my
a Stanley
addiction.
because I drink coffee all day long too. I just go through cups, and when they get cold, if it's
Yeah,
not gone, I
listen,
dump it out and pour
I
another
didn't
one.
I didn't buy this Stanley. I would not pay that much for a cup. My daughter gifted it to me. She bought it for me for a birthday or Christmas or something. I would not break down and spend the money on a Stanley, but I'm going to tell you that this
I get a
coffee,
knockoff.
it stays hot all
All
day
day.
Yeah,
long
see,
in the
that's the
Yeah,
Stanley.
yeah.
thing.
It is worth the money. I just wouldn't spend it.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
But
I
it
can
does,
find a knockoff, I think, but
yeah,
yeah, it's
I think
because when the
there's,
coffee gets cold, it's like and then I dump it out and I pour another cup. But I always have a pot of coffee going, so I
yeah,
should
that's
get something
me.
that'll at least keep it warm.
Yeah, you should invest in it. Or maybe
Yeah,
somebody will hear us talking about it and they'll gift you one, maybe. How about that?
that
You
would be
never
great.
know.
No, you never know.
But
But
I highly recommend the
That's
Stanley.
funny.
I'm just not going to buy it.
I do love my coffee, and my thing is marijuana, and I love it. But and I accidentally ended up addicted to something else. But yeah, it was just a series of circumstances, and I have accountability in it too. Obviously, it's my choices. Especially this last time, the first time I woke up and realized I didn't feel good, but I didn't want to go through it again. I just don't have another one in me. I don't have
Mhm.
Yeah,
another dope sick in me. I can't go through it. I mean, really, it is a misery. I can understand why your son really tried to avoid it and why everyone tries to avoid it. It's 10
right.
times worse than the lupus ever has been.
Yeah. Gino would say, when he was going to go into treatment, he would say, I have to go somewhere where they give us something when we're going through withdrawal, because a lot of
Mm,
places won't medicate them.
yeah.
And he didn't want to go to a treatment facility unless they would medicate him going through withdrawal. He said,
Right.
Mom, you don't know
Hmm.
how bad it is.
It
And I
really
would say
is.
then, I would argue with him, then why do you do this to yourself? Why do I would get so angry about it. I'd say, why? If you know that this is so horrible, why do you do this? Once you get out of your system, just don't do it anymore. That would be
Hmm.
my, that was, I would say that
Yeah.
to him all the time. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand it. I don't get it. And he would just say, Mom, you just don't know. You don't have the problem, so you don't know,
Right,
what
right,
it's
right.
like.
Yeah. They're
But
not trying to be nobody's trying to be a drug addict. Nobody's
right.
trying to be
No,
addicted
it's
to
not
He
like
would
anything.
it's something
say,
you strive to be.
right, he
You
would
don't.
say, do you think I want to be like this?
Yeah.
And I'd say, well, you made the choice. And sometimes I knew I said the wrong things. I'm learning though from it.
Well,
You're allowed to get frustrated.
Yeah,
yes.
it was very frustrating, to
I
to be the mom and not be able to control the situation. Because as a
Yeah.
mother,
See,
you want to control everything and make everything right. And I had no
Right.
control over this at
yeah.
all. Zero.
Yeah, I kind of been on both sides of it, because I took it away from my first husband. I got clean so that I got off things so that he would. I got off of my
Mhm.
prescribed medication so that he would stop. But I took away the keys and he would cry and beg and would go through the sick. And then, like a couple of months later, I'd find him in his pocket doing laundry.
Right.
And
Right.
it's just like, oh
Yeah.
no. So,
Toddie, can you see that? I guess you put that up there from somebody, right?
Yeah, she wrote a bouncing bouncing tigger, I'm sorry. We lost my godson last Easter to overdose. They found out it was laced with fentanyl. His mom
Mm.
thought he had a heart attack.
oh,
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I mean, a lot of parents don't know, or they're embarrassed to say what it truly is, but
Because they look at it as failure.
mhm.
right.
And they
Like,
need
what are
to,
people going to think? That everybody's
Yeah.
so worried about what's
and
everybody going
also
to think.
they look at it as failure, as if they did something that that caused it. And
Right,
you sometimes you just gotta like step away to see the full picture.
Mhm.
right,
It's easy, because here's the thing. There's always something that a parent could have done, should have done. And you just gave us a perfect example. You said, maybe I said the wrong thing.
right,
So, because of that, and because I think for the most part, most parents strive to be the perfect parent for their kid, to help their parent, to help their children. So I think that people think it's a failure on them being a mother or being a parent, and it's not.
right,
It's a problem that's within somebody, that it wouldn't matter who their parents were. You know what I mean?
right.
Yes.
That's not the thing, because there are kids that grow up with drug addicts as parents, and they purposely do not become drug addicts because of that.
Yes, yes,
then
Yes,
there
you
are
my
are so
people,
stepson
right.
has never done any drugs because he saw his father. I'm so proud of him.
and
I'm so
then
Yes,
there are
proud of him.
people that have never done drugs. I know a couple, they've never done drugs, they don't even drink, they don't even smoke, nothing.
Mhm.
And their kids, unfortunately, have
yep,
problems.
Mhm.
yep,
So
that's,
it's an individual, it's like everybody's individual journey in life. It's their individual journey. All you could do is be supportive, try not to judge,
Mhm.
and
And
be the
everybody
best you
has
can. It
pain they're
doesn't mean
trying
that you're not going to lose your patience, you're not going to get frustrated, you're not
of
going to say
course.
We're all
things.
human.
That's just, you know.
It's tough.
Yeah.
It's not
It,
easy being an addict, and I think it's even harder being the parent or a loved one of an addict,
Because
because
you're
you're always
helpless. You feel
tiptoeing
so
around.
helpless. Yeah.
Right, you don't know what's going to set them off, and you're like walking on eggshells all the time, and it's
mhm.
difficult.
Yeah. And
But
it doesn't have to be anything at all. It's just maybe celebrating even sometimes,
yeah,
at
well,
a
Right.
like
good
I
thing.
said before you came on, I was saying like Gino could be triggered by something as simple as McDonald's messing up his hamburger order or something, that, oh, well, that was the end of the world to him, something that
Mhm.
you and I would be like, okay, I'll just wipe the onions and whatever off, not him. He would get in such a, it just ruined his whole day. And that would be his excuse that he had to use that day, which, he was going to use anyway, I'm sure. But that would be the reason, he had to have a
Mhm.
reason, I guess.
Well, very irritable when you're trying to come off drugs. Not only is it a physical pain, but it's a mental anguish, and
Right.
people don't often know what to do, and they get very short with people. Because
Yeah.
if you've noticed, anybody that is into drugs and stuff, and you're talking to them, they're all happy, and yeah, whatever, and and everything is good, and then the minute that they're sober, things change. I noticed that about me, to be honest with you. If I've taken a pain pill because I'm in pain legitimately, I find that I say yes a lot more.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I say yes a lot more, and I think to myself, don't make any decisions when you're taking a pain pill, because
Mm-mm.
like, seriously, I'm serious about that, because I totally understand why people take them to get through the day, because yeah, I don't know how long that lasts for.
Yeah.
I mean, ultimately, at some point, you're just taking it to feel normal, and normal
Mhm.
Right.
isn't that, right? So, but I I think that people, first of all, they need to be 1,000% honest. They need to realize, I know 100%. I know 100% that if I take my pill for more than 3 days in a row, and I take, 3 or 4 a day, by the 4th day, I'm going to feel sick. I need to recognize that and say, okay, that's a different kind of sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to take the pill for this kind of sick. I need to take ibuprofen for this kind of sick.
Right.
So you have to be completely honest with yourself. It's not easy to say, I'm addicted to pain medicine, but I am addicted. My body is addicted to pain medicine.
Yeah. I think you're right. It's easier to be honest with other people than it is to your own self sometimes. 'Cause,
Yeah, but you have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
Yep.
only way that you're going to be sober. It's the only way
Yeah.
you're going to have any relationship, whether we're talking about drugs or anything else. The only way you're ever going to have any kind of honest relationship with anybody, it has to start with you. It fucking
Right.
has to start with you. There's a saying with addicts that goes, do you know who you are when the lights are out? Like when the lights are out and there's nobody, and Rebecca left us again, and there's nobody like looking at you, and you're not on stage and stuff, like who are you when you have to make decisions, and who are you when things don't go right, you know? So I mean, to me, I don't know, you gotta be
No,
totally.
honesty and ethics are my personal ethics are very, very important to me. When my first husband, he started stealing to fund his addiction, and it was very expensive, and I was willing to do a lot of things, but I was not willing to be criminal.
Right.
I had so
Well,
I
I don't think he was trying to be one either. He
No, he
just
wasn't
got
trying to be, but that was the line I
you
would
see
not cross.
exactly. So you see,
Yeah.
the difference is that his addiction for him was much worse than your
Mhm.
addiction for you, because you had boundaries that you
Yes.
weren't willing to cross,
Mhm.
and
Right.
he might have had them at some point,
Yeah. And I'm
but
sad
they
that
didn't
because he
exist
was a wonderful
anymore.
person. I mean, the man I married was a great guy, and I'm sure he's still in there. It's been so long. It's been so many years.
It's a
Yeah, it's
shame.
tough though. It's really tough because
Yeah.
there's no doubt when he took his first pill, he wasn't trying to end up like this so many years later.
Absolutely
Yeah, I
not.
don't think anybody says, "Oh, I want to be an addict." I don't think
And then
anybody wants
everything
to
you do,
be.
but see, and it's also everything you do now depends on it. So let's say you want to
Mhm.
take a trip somewhere. You got to
It
make sure
revolves
you have
around.
enough medication with you.
Yes.
You have to
Yeah.
make sure that um everything goes well. Like it's a job to be an addict. It's a
Mhm.
job to be especially a successful addict. That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And when people used to come to the rehab, the kids used to come to the rehab, I tell them straight up, you know how hard it was to be a fucking addict? It's just as hard to be sober. Take that
Mhm.
energy and put it into your sobriety. You'll be
Yeah,
just as
Mhm.
reverse it,
successful.
rewind.
You'll be
It's
just as
true because it takes
successful.
a lot of effort to plan all that. I mean, you can't really go anywhere without, okay, am I going to be gone for 4 hours? Because it's
Exactly.
going
But
to
you
run
have
out.
to have
Yeah.
that when
Yep.
it comes to triggers that
Yes.
might make you use. So
Yeah.
Yes.
it's just like you have that, um, that, oh gosh, I got to make sure I have something on Thursday, or I got to make sure that I keep my medicine with me on the plane, because if they lose my luggage, and
Right.
what if I can't get medication in Florida? Do I have
Yeah.
enough that I brought from New York? It becomes a whole job
Yeah.
Yes,
where now
it
you're making an
does.
early appointment because, hey, doc, I'm leaving and I won't be here when
Mhm.
my meds due, and I need another prescription to actually take my med. It's such a job that you, if you're serious about sobriety, you have to put the same effort, the same way of
Yeah.
thinking into it. And let me tell you something
Mhm.
else. There is something that you guys both spoke about, and this is a big thing, not only in sobriety, but in life. And it's the way that they always end the meetings. in NA or AA, and it's God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the
Yes.
things I can, and the
The
wisdom to know the difference. All of that in saying you're not responsible for anybody's addiction except your own addiction.
Mhm.
You're not
Right.
responsible for your son's addiction. You're not responsible for your ex-husband's addiction.
Mhm.
You're only responsible for yourself. But that's something I love that saying, because it's not just, it's about people too. You accept people
Mhm.
for who they are. You don't try to change, you accept. And what you can't change, you just learn to accept. It's about whatever in life. You don't get the job you want, you don't get the promotion you want. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? You don't, it's just, and I mean, like, that's a credo that I definitely follow, because not only is it about sobriety per se, but it is just about life, to just
You're
accept
right
things
about it.
and try to accept them. We might not always accept them right away.
Right.
We don't have to act
Mhm.
on anything right away either.
Right.
You know, there's always this real urgency to react or act. And it took me a long time to realize it's okay to take a step away so that I can come back with what I'm really trying to say.
Mhm.
Right.
Where I think people want to fix things right away, or people want to get their rebuttal in right away or whatever. Sometimes it's just best just hang on, just wait a minute and hang on, you know.
Right. I just wish people, when someone's struggling, and, just remember that person could be somebody's son, father, brother, uncle, cousin, whatever. Like, we need to remember that they're human too. They just have an issue,
Mhm.
it's a sickness. And,
Yeah,
I, I,
definitely.
I just hate that people are so quick to judge, because it can happen to you, anybody.
I
And
think it's
people
getting
sometimes
better because
forget that.
everyone has someone close now.
I
I
think
mean,
things have
yeah.
gotten better since way back when I was dealing with this with Gino in the beginning. It wasn't
Mhm.
such a big deal. I think we were just
Mhm.
getting
They've
into
come a
the,
long
you know,
way, in all fairness, because like I was saying, in jobs now, you can actually take time off to go to rehab without worrying about
like,
losing your
you're not going to lose
job.
your job. Yeah.
And
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
you know, with, I mean, it's it's almost like reverse. It's almost like you're praised for going to rehab, and by all means you should be praised for going to rehab. But
Yeah.
there are people with
Yeah.
real addiction, and then there are people, unfortunately, with attention problems, and there's a difference there. So
Right.
there's
Mhm.
people that even go to the meetings, and maybe I shouldn't speak about this, but it's important. There are people, and I know this for a fact, that go to meetings, and you know, they're there for attention, not so much to help problems, but they're to talk about whatever is going on in their life. And then we'll throw
Right.
in a drug
And
problem in it. And they might not even have a drug problem. They might have a relationship problem that they want advice
right.
on.
You
I
know
know
what
what you
else,
mean.
Toddy, I just want to real quick share. Gino had this after he would get out of treatment. They would say 90 meetings in 90 days,
Mhm.
and he would just go for the sake of getting the 90 meetings. I don't think he was absorbing. He went because he had to do the 90. Do you know what I mean? And I think
Right, 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 right,
a
right,
lot of
right,
people go to the meetings because they have to get that in,
right,
maybe
right,
they're not
right,
going for the right reason, just to get it down on paper that they were there.
right, right,
There are
And,
right.
also people there to fuel in it to
Yeah,
profit. I guess I should say. One of the places I took my first husband for help ended up making things worse.
yeah,
Which
Mhm.
I just tried to sign. I decided to sign him up for the methadone clinic, and all he did was find connections. Really.
yeah.
Yeah,
So that
yeah,
Yeah.
again, I mean, like, you have to want to be sober. You
Yes.
have to want to be sober,
yeah,
because yes, there are things that happen in those bathrooms at times, inside those meetings, inside the rooms. But here's the
Mhm.
thing about the 90 days in that. So ultimately, you're hearing people's stories. So the hope is that you're able to relate to a story, and that person's sober, and maybe you get like a sponsor to help you when you feel the need to use, almost like a buddy system per se,
Right,
you know.
right,
And a lot of times people's stories can help other people, you know, get sober. But again,
right,
you have to be there on your journey of recovery. You have to want to be there. It can't be forced.
right.
Otherwise, you're right. You're just sitting there twiddling your thumbs.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know.
Toddie, did you see I guess the message you put up? Somebody was saying that their family kind of abandoned them because of an addiction issue. Did you read that one?
Because of my injury and my need for pain meds, my parents have effectively distanced and isolated me from everyone in the family, including themselves. It's like I'm a criminal because that's horrible.
It's sad,
It is,
but
that's really sad. You know, and I'm not saying this is the case, but a lot of times, just like Amy's ex-husband, a lot of times you can't trust an addict in your home. You know what I'm saying? If they're stealing, and
right,
I'm not saying this person did this, you know, but that's why a lot of people, you know, tell,
Sometimes you just have to remove yourself and hope the person, you know,
yeah.
maybe,
But
yeah,
hopefully that's
I
loses
don't think that
somebody.
somebody should be labeled something.
no,
Or so here's somebody here that's saying that I stole pain pills from my family. So, you know, you can understand when something like that happens, that you might, you
Mhm.
know, be apprehensive, especially with children in the home, because now you've got a whole other worry. You got
Yeah.
to worry
right,
about somebody nodding off when they started an oven. You
right,
know,
And what are
there's
the,
exactly.
a
yeah.
whole other thing, realm to this that is scary. You got a
It's
dog in the
frightening.
house, and if you drop something and your dog eats it, I mean, that would be like a big concern for me,
Right,
you know?
definitely.
Mhm.
So I can understand where people, you know, I don't know the circumstance of the person. I would hope that if your family knows that you need help, that they'll give you the help that you need.
Right.
If not, please, you know, reach out. You know, maybe we can help find a place for you to you know, I, it's hard to go through this, to go through sobriety and feel alone,
Yeah, it's
you know,
difficult, but
because sobriety is probably one of the hardest journeys you'll take in life.
I think it is. And it's unfortunate that this person's family is treating them that way, but we don't know the circumstances. I
Right,
mean,
right,
maybe they'll
right,
come in and let us know their circumstance, like
right,
what is going on? Why, did something happen? We don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people with Gino were fearful, that he might rob them or something, but I can say, I'm not proud of this, but Gino only took from us. He never stole from other people, strangers. He didn't break into homes, cars, whatever. What he wanted or needed, he would take from home. Unfortunately, I'm not proud of it, like I said, but
But still,
he wasn't out robbing strangers and stuff.
right. Well, and you know, that is something, because you know how many
yeah.
crimes are committed, and violent crimes
Yeah.
are committed because of drugs and money
Yeah,
to get
somebody
drugs
wanted to
or
get
being
20
on
bucks for
drugs.
they would hurt somebody for $20, and it happens, but Gino wasn't that person, he didn't do that. And he
Right.
only, like I said, he took from us, but um, he wasn't breaking into people's homes or cars or anything, but people were fearful of having him around because, oh, he might steal
Right.
something or whatever,
Mhm.
Right.
and I
Or
get it.
not
I do
off,
get
or
it.
die on their property. I mean, you know,
Right.
there's a lot that you're
Yeah.
taking on the responsibility for. I just want to answer this question. So Holly Jolly, I just spoke with her. Um, she's got some personal things that I'm not comfortable about talking about. If you have her email, you can reach out to her.
Oh,
Um,
boy. I hope
but
everything's okay with her.
yeah, she's just got some personal stuff that she's dealing with, and I'm really not at liberty to speak about it, but I did speak with her today or last
Well,
night.
we're all here for her if she needs to reach out to anybody, whatever it is. I mean, doesn't hurt to talk to somebody, you know.
Yep.
We're here and wishing her the best.
I'll let her know. I know that she is busy
Thank
with
you.
what's going on with her and she is preoccupied. But you know, I have heard from her, so she'll respond if people have an email or something.
Right.
So somebody wrote, so this is true. This is very true. Once you become sick and tired, you'll be over it. Facing or getting to the root of the problem will set you free. I agree. I fought addiction for many years. I went to inpatient therapy, came out clean. That's great. If it's stuck one time,
Yeah.
you know how many people, unfortunately, have gone back and back and back. Again, it
Yep.
goes with the journey, their journey of what recovery looks like for them. You
Yeah.
know?
Everybody's different, you know.
Mhm.
Everybody's story is different.
Yeah, for sure,
Very
for
true.
sure.
Yeah, I mean, Gina was in and out of rehabs from Florida, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, everywhere. And, it got to the point where I said to him, listen, do what you want. I'm not going to go crazy making the arrangements for your flight here and there for you only to leave the facility after 3 days. Like now you're on,
Mhm.
kind of on your own. You figure it out. And that's kind of what happened. And that's when he became 2 years sober. When I finally said, you're not on our insurance anymore. Do it. However you're going to do it, do it. Like I'm, you're a grown up now. I can't do it for you. I can't make the arrangements. And I think that's when he realized, like, well, shit, I got to do this. Mom's not going to make the calls. Mom, I got to do this. And he did.
Mhm.
And things were good for about 2 years,
And that
Here's
one
Uh,
time, that
yeah,
one time,
Yeah.
that
here's
is tragic.
here's somebody that said that their son went 3 times and still lost his life.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to say Gino went probably about, 303 times and still lost his life. He was in and out of rehab, detox, every other, you name it. So it's unfortunate, but it happens. They have to want it, and it's a daily struggle. It's,
Exactly.
I just know from what Gino told me, I've never experienced it, but I witnessed it, and it's not an easy task. It's not, some people aren't going to make it out, like I said earlier.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Um there's been a few people that have asked me and I've never really answered this question. So there's been people that have said, "Well, what do you think about um people that are trying to wean themselves off of drugs and they want you to hold the medication so that you divvy it out to them when they're supposed to get it?"
Doesn't
So
work.
I want to be honest. So Jennifer asked me to do that and I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I didn't want to be responsible. I didn't even want the drugs in my house. I
Mhm.
mean, she died 20 something years later. So, I mean, I don't have that guilt. I don't know what would have happened had she have died the next day. That
Mhm.
guilt, but I don't recommend that. I don't recommend anybody doing that. Just a doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
That's the only person that should do that is a doctor.
Yeah, because you
There's a
know what?
reason that they build up, you build up trust even with the services. They skipped me from phase 1 to phase 3 with the suboxone treatment because I don't have the behaviors, and I don't have cravings, and I've not, they tested me, they test your urine and it's what it's supposed to be. But there's a reason that they like have levels of trust where they'll give you, like at the methadone clinic, you have to go every day until you get a couple of days, and then eventually
Yeah.
you'll get a week's worth. And it's the
Yeah.
same way with this. I'm getting like 2 weeks. But if they hadn't fast tracked me, I would be only getting, a week's worth of medication at a time, because you're right. It's not like, even if you have a lockbox, if the person wants to get into it, they're going to get into it.
Well, not
Yeah.
only that, but it puts you in a horrible situation. And I just thought, I don't want to be in that situation. Like, let me nip this in the bud by saying no before, I even
can
try
understand.
it.
Yeah,
I can
you know,
understand.
I had a situation with Gino with the suboxone. I held it at first and only
Mhm.
gave it to him and he got very angry and nasty with me and he called the police and told them I took his prescription medication. He called the police
Yeah,
on me. And
yeah,
the
I can
cop came to
backfire.
my door. And I
Mhm.
said to her, lady, if I give him this, he's going to overdose on it because it was after the first time that he did overdose on
Right.
it. And she said, ma'am, this is his prescription. His name is on it. He's over
Right.
18. And she made me give it to him. And I said, all right, when he's laying out there dead in my front yard, you're going to come and pick him up? And do
Mhm.
you know, later that day, that morning, it was early in the morning, my girls went to get on the school bus at the end of our driveway and Gino was laying in the fucking bushes unconscious. I had to call an
Because
ambulance.
he couldn't have it if he
He
was
took
gonna.
too
If he,
much of it again.
Right.
And
yeah,
Right.
the same
yeah.
cop came and I said, I told you. I told you.
Yeah, but they can't. The law is the law. I
I
called
know.
the
I
cops
know.
on Jen because when I found the drugs, I was like, you got to leave, man. Like I'm not playing
Yeah.
games, and I did. I had to kick her out. I had to kick her
Yeah.
out. And,
Yeah.
um, and I forget what it was. I can't kick her out and then call the cops on her. So that wasn't it. But I remember calling the cops
Yeah.
on her for like driving, for
Mm.
like, and I said she's higher than a kite, and they were like, you can't hold her keys, like you
Right,
Right.
can't you can't
You're
right.
hold
not
somebody's
allowed.
keys,
Because
I
that's
know.
like kidnapping in a way,
you
isn't it? Don't
know.
they
I don't
consider
know.
it
They
that?
just said you can't hold the keys, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, but she's not good at driving, and they said that's not my responsibility.
Right. Yeah.
It's
Okay,
right
all
That's
right.
either.
after my divorce, my ex-husband ran up underneath the semi, and he was fine, like because he was limp. He had nodded
Yeah,
off of the
yeah,
wheel
yeah. They don't
and
know,
ran up
right?
underneath the back of one, but it totaled the car. And you know, yeah, he didn't need to be driving. He didn't need to be doing anything other than sitting in a chair. So,
Right.
but
Yeah.
So somebody was asking if he overdosed on Suboxone. Rebecca.
Oh, Gino? Yes, he had done that twice.
Yeah. So
And that's why I was holding the medication
mm,
after the first time and only giving it to him as prescribed, but he got angry with me because he wanted to abuse it
right,
mhm.
right.
and called the police on me and I had to give it to him and found him in the yard just like I predicted we would.
Wow.
And, but what could I do? It was technically his medication. His name was on the box.
Hmm.
So it's
The
just
amount he would have to take for it to nod you
I said
off.
he must have put all of those strips under
Yeah,
his tongue or whatever
he
you do
must
with
have.
it. He must have
Yeah,
used the whole
Yeah,
prescription
because
at
people
once.
are saying, wow, I didn't think you could overdose on that. So let me
I
just
didn't
I
tell you
either.
that I know Suboxone could also be some sort of pill that you could snort, right? At one time it was, because I know somebody that was snorting Suboxone.
Yeah.
people figure out ways to abuse everything. And it
Yes.
does come in a tablet form, but that one takes longer to dissolve, and I don't plan to abuse it, so it's easier for me to get the strips.
Right,
But I
right.
think you're right. I think you're right that you can. People will figure out how to mess it.
That's
Like,
where I think that you can overdose. That's where I
yeah,
Yeah.
think you could do
yeah,
that. You can do
yeah.
that. Listen, if this is triggersome for people, cut out. If this is triggersome for people, you need to cut out.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't want to upset anybody, but
Yeah.
we're just here to speak the raw truth from our own experience. And I don't want anyone to be triggered
Yeah.
and do something based on what they're hearing here. So
yeah.
Oof. Sorry about that.
We're
But
gonna
this is
call it quits in a few minutes anyway. It's almost been a couple hours.
oh
I,
wow.
Yeah,
it
it's
has been,
almost
hasn't it?
11 o'clock. It was a good. I think it
Oh
was a
geez.
good conversation. No, did you have to be somewhere, Rebecca Michello?
Never. No, this is my life. I look forward I'm not even joking, Toddie, when I tell you this is making me have a purpose again. Waking up knowing that on Monday I'm going to be with Toddie and we're going to talk and
That's
this
right.
it helps
And
me.
make a difference, and hopefully make a difference
Yeah,
for
yeah, I look forward to this.
Okie
This is,
Finoki.
this is my purpose right now, being on your
That's
show
wonderful.
on Monday mornings. I know it sounds crazy,
And
right? But
no, I understand because I'm I'm a recluse. I don't leave the house very often. It's I would like to look forward to this if you guys would have me again. I really
I
appreciated the
think you brought a
opportunity.
lot to the table. I'm happy that you came on.
Thank you
I think
so
it was a good
much.
thing.
I
Absolutely,
will get
absolutely. I want
I have a
everybody that
webcam I
has
can
a
get set
chance.
up.
I want everybody that has a chance to that wants to share their story. It is a regular thing. Monday morning,
Wonderful.
Monday talk. It's a regular thing.
Wonderful.
So how you doing? I haven't seen you in a minute, Estiana. So uh anybody that has a story that they want to tell, you're welcome. Is he really gonna
And if anybody is afraid to speak openly and you want to email me or reach out to me on Facebook, I'm here. I'll listen to your, I'll talk, whatever. I don't know what I can do, but sometimes just
listen?
talking to somebody.
That's
Listening
very
is
sweet
is
of you.
is a good listening is a good thing. So Jane Doe said Rebecca should really consider speaking at rehabs and jails. She will remind people of their mother, and her story is
Mhm.
moving.
Well, I wouldn't mind speaking at rehabs. I would go to jails, but I don't think I'd be allowed to go to Trenton State because I have somebody in there that I'd choke the shit out of if I got near him. So they probably wouldn't want me there. Or maybe that would be a good idea. Maybe I could get in there and fulfill my mission. But I would love to do that. I don't know that rehabs and jails allow just somebody to come. I don't know if you have to have some kind of credential, something. I don't know, but
So they do allow outside meetings in,
mhm,
and usually they're set up, and you do have to kind of prove who you are and that you're not related to anybody and that you're not going to bring anything in, and that there's
right.
obviously there's a complete vetting
I
for
mean, I would do it if they would allow me. The only knowledge I have is just my life experience. I have no clinical, or background
People
in
do forget
addiction or
about
anything.
what their mom though. And if you could remind people of their mom, that was like
Y-
everybody, you know.
Yeah, sometimes just letting an addict know that, they're still loved, they're still human, they're a person, their feelings
Mhm.
matter. I
right.
think that's a lot, for an addict to know that somebody cares and somebody's not judging them. You still want to hug them and love them. I think that's important. And if I could
Very
do that for
important.
somebody, then I'm here to do that.
It's very important. So Rebecca's in New Jersey. I'm in New York. Where are you? Okefenokee?
I am in Oregon.
In
I live
Oregon, that's
outside. You
right.
know where Bend
Okay.
it with the last Blockbuster? I
Oh,
live I live outside of Bend, Oregon, and I live out in the high desert and my
the
neighbors are
last
cows, but
blockbuster is gone now, right?
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
last they have they have the little I guess it was a documentary they did about it, but
I
it's
saw it.
open.
Yep, I
There's a
saw it.
Papa John's or a Papa Murphy's pizza right next to it, and I think that's why it stays open. People go and order a pizza, and then while it's being put together, they go and get movies or a game or
Oh,
whatever. But it's
Oh,
Blockbuster's still
surprisingly,
wow.
open?
yeah, it's
Oh, I
open.
didn't know it
There's a
was
Wow.
still open.
Blockbuster.
Did
Wow.
you say your neighbors are cows?
They are now, yeah. My neighbors are
Oh
cows and
my
horses, and
gosh.
now there's a donkey. So
Oh
I,
boy. I'm in about 2 weeks, I'll be moving to a farmhouse that we just bought.
oh,
And I said I'm gonna get chickens. And my
you should
sister
get
is so
chicken.
funny. She's researching like how it all works. And I said, well, if I have chickens, I have to have a rooster, right, to get them pregnant. And we were cracking up because I don't know how this all works. And she's like, no. You only need that if you want to make baby
Baby
chickens. If you
chicken.
just want eggs, and I'm like, oh no, I don't think that's right. So we're cracking up trying to, I'm going to try to be a farmer and I have no clue what's going on. But I said, I'm getting chickens and I'm going to get a little pig that I'm going to keep in the house. And I have it all planned out. So you'll be seeing
They have
videos and pictures
miniature
of me making a
cows
fool of
now that you
myself.
can have as pets.
Very
Have you
cool.
seen
Yeah,
the miniature cows? They're so adorable. They're like the
I
size
have
of
not
dogs and they're
seen,
so
but
fluffy.
I
Oh,
probably don't want to see because I'll want one, I'm
it's
sure.
just
But
cute overload.
this house is going to be therapy for me. I'm
No, it'll be
I'm
great. You
planning
do
to
need
do a lot.
chickens. Yeah,
So,
and the country is healing. It really is. It's just so peaceful. I'll go
yeah,
outside and just stand barefoot in my yard and look at
yeah.
there's,
I I can't help
grain.
but, I think, oh, Gino and Corey would have loved to be here for this, and they're not going to be, but
They're with you. They'll never leave you.
Somebody did write, Rebecca, you should consider starting a channel that reaches out to people in this situation because people need this. Someplace safe to talk. That's what we're working on here.
that's the plan I have in my little, we call it a barn, but it's a garage with a loft above it. That's where my little studio is going to be. And I'm
Oh,
hoping
that'll
to
be
have
great.
people come there live to join me and talk. And I'm hoping this is going to be what I want to do full time. I just,
It feels
I'm
good to
not,
help.
I just
It
want
feels
to
good to
talk
help.
to people and do things. It helps me help them,
Hmm.
you know,
Well,
it's good for me.
don't forget to email me your address so that I can give it to Renelle so that she could send
Yes.
you so that
I
you
will
could
do
start.
that. I'm so appreciative of that. I'm just so grateful that, somebody was willing to help me get started, because I'm clueless, as you all know. I can barely use the damn phone. So it,
You're doing great. You're doing great. And I'll help you with this. I'm going to help you with
I
this.
know, I appreciate it.
Not a
There's
problem.
so many of you are just so helpful. And like I said, Toddie, you are the highlight of my day, week, month. I just watching your
That
other
means a lot.
shows that talk about
She's great.
Gypsy Rose. I don't know if I should still say Gypsy Rose, but I mean, I
I
wake up
appreciate that.
to see what you have going on. That you're my
I do
life right
too.
now.
I do
I hope
too.
I'm
Ah,
not putting too much pressure on you, Toddie, but
I'm turning red, guys. I'm getting embarrassed. Thank you. That means
no,
the world to me, especially after especially this morning. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
of course.
It's amazing the drama that's all wrapped up around that whole thing. Like it's
Yeah,
layers
that's
and
something
layers.
I'll be honest with that. I don't really want to talk about the
Okay.
drama because it was a rough
Yeah, I
night
don't
for
blame you.
that. But all we could do is do the best that we can do. There's bumps along the way, you know. There's a reason why we meet people. Not everybody's bad, not everybody's good.
Right,
And I'm not going to bash anybody that I've done work with or somebody that's trying to figure things out. I'm going to give them
Mhm.
space to figure things out and a safe place if they want to talk. So that's
right.
just the
Mhm.
way it is.
Yeah.
And yeah, so but this is something that happens every Monday at 9 a.m. whether I work the night before or not. I'm committed to this.
Me too.
I will.
I don't
I will
even
set up a little
sleep.
webcam. When I had the time wrong, I was going to spend the day putting up my little webcam and having a microphone and everything, and then I was just wrong. So I'll have it next week.
There you go. There you go. And what you just got to just send me your email at people that want to come on, like Amy. There's another Amy that, the doctor, right? So
Hmm.
hoping that she comes on next week to explain
That
a
would be
little bit
great.
about, yeah, I think that would be great. I
Yeah.
do.
Hmm.
We can all learn
So
something. Definitely. I think the more people we reach out to that we reach doing this, I think we're going to help, even if it's one person a week, you know.
absolutely, absolutely,
Makes
absolutely.
a
So
difference. Little
I agree
differences are
that.
differences.
I,
Yeah.
I
I
agree
mean,
that a
just
million percent.
the addicts knowing, and I hate to say calling people the addicts, but anyone struggling, if they just know that we're here not judging,
Hmm.
we're here with open arms to help in any way we can. We're
Right,
not judging you. Your life is worth it. We're here.
right, right, right. I think I know who this is. Brave Beard. Do I know you? Didn't we do something together once upon a time ago? I'm pretty sure that's who it is. I'm not. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but I don't know. Maybe not. I got lost on your Facebook timeline last night. Somebody said 1 year up. That's for you, Rebecca. Thank you,
Oh,
Rebecca. I got lost on your Facebook timeline last night.
um, but I'm confused. They got lost.
So in other words,
Did they reach out to me and I didn't answer something?
no, 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 no.
Oh.
They were saying that they were on your timeline last night, just reading up about you and stuff.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm taking it as.
That's what I think it means too.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I talk a lot on there, so I
They
talk a
said
lot of
thank you.
shit.
Wait a minute, a baby fell from the incubator. Did you? I seen the post about the baby in NICU that
Oh,
fell from the
yeah, I
incubator.
think a baby was in the NICU or something and a nurse mishandled the baby. I don't think purposely, and
Okay.
something happened, and I think someone posted it in Justice for Corey. Yeah, I don't have a lot of information about that story. Unfortunately, I didn't really look into it yet. But yeah, that we do post different things, in the group that come up.
Here's what somebody's saying about this. The nurse took the cords in her pocket and pulled the baby from the bed. Oh, I didn't want to read that.
Oh no.
I don't want to read that. No,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. We want to get that off of it.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant story, and I think that's part of the reason I didn't really read into it too much.
That one
It was
sounds
an
bad.
accident. They're saying it was an accident.
Yeah, I believe it was. It was an accident, but
Try to tell
still
the
a
parent
horrible,
that. Yeah.
horrible accident. Doesn't make it any better,
No.
And Estiana wrote, I think talking each week will help so many people, family and friends, with a loved one with problems with addiction. Thanks.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's what we're trying to do.
I hope that's what happens. That's what we're here for. That's what we're hoping for.
Absolutely. Absolutely so. Well, I got to go to sleep because I've
Yes,
been
you
up.
do.
But guys, anybody that wants to hop on and talk about addiction or something along the lines of this topic, please email me your email and I can send you a post for a link for next Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will be. Guys, thank you. Amy, thank you for joining us and
Thank you
sharing your
for
story
having
with
me.
us. We
I
really,
really
really
appreciate it.
appreciate that. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate
No, it was nice hearing your thoughts and your experiences, and I hope you come back. I really do.
I would love to. I'm going to set up a little webcam and everything over the week and have it all set up for you. And
Cool.
Be ready this time.
I'd like to say that I'll look better next week than I did this week, but I won't. This is it.
That's
This is
fine.
what
No,
you
this
get.
is
Look
fine. What are you
fine.
talking about?
I don't get all done up. I don't really care to do that. So this is it. This is what you're gonna get every
It's
week.
fine.
You're
I
beautiful,
have the thing
Rebecca.
'cause-
You're absolutely beautiful. So
Oh, thank you. I feel the same about you, Toddie. You're beautiful inside and out.
I appreciate
I
that. Thank you
agree.
so much.
I agree.
Thank you so much. All right. Well, we're
All
gonna
right.
call it a week and we'll get back together next week. Anybody that needs any help that got anything from this and needs help, please reach out to us.
Yes,
Please reach out
definitely.
to us.
Please.
Thank you both. Toddie,
all
sweet
right.
dreams. I will see
Thank you.
you
I
in the morning
appreciate
with
that.
my coffee.
Okay,
All
very
right.
good.
Good
Bye,
night.
everybody.
Well, good
And
night to
Rebecca,
Toddie.
don't forget to send me the email, Rebecca. Okay. I mean your
Yes.
address.
The
okay?
address, I definitely will. And I
Okay.
also just wanted to ask you, are we gonna do anything with my letter to
Yeah, so
Scumbag?
I'm waiting to hear from Jay.
Okay.
And I could do it anytime that works for Jay, I'm sure. So I
Okay,
think we had some dates written, and I think I said to her, just let me know what works for you, and I'll
okay,
make it work for me.
I'm whatever you guys can do. I just appreciate you letting me do it. So
Of course.
anytime. And if our guest here doesn't know what we're talking about, I don't want to get, I know we're shutting this off, but if
Good.
you go on my Facebook, you'll have a better understanding of my life if you haven't already. So just look me up on Facebook. You'll know what I'm talking about, my monthly letter.
Yeah.
So anyway, okay. Well, good
All
night,
right.
everyone, or goodbye. Everyone
Thank
have
you.
a
All
good
right.
week.
Bye bye.
Thanks,
Talk
guys.
soon.
Thank you. I'll speak to you
Bye-bye.
soon. Okay, bye.